before Profit First, we were mainly focused on compliance and very, very little advisory. I always felt that there was a piece missing when working with my clients because, yes, compliance is important and we need to make sure that we're in the green with the CRA or the IRS. But if your goal is to build a business that helps people and can support your dream lifestyle, getting compliance services is not going to help you.
You're listening to The Successful Bookkeeper with your host, Michael Palmer. Listen each week as inspiring guests share their secrets of success to help you increase your confidence, work smarter, and build a business you love. This episode of The Successful Bookkeeper is brought to you by PureBookkeeping.com, the proven system to grow your bookkeeping business.
Welcome back to the Successful Bookkeeper Podcast. I am your host, Michael Palmer, and today's show is going to be a great one. This week's guest is the founder of Measured Growth CPA, and he is a Pure Bookkeeping licensee, Daniel Breez. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Michael.
It's great to have you. And I remember the very first time we met was at the Intuit conference downtown Toronto, and I thought to myself, wow, this person is going to crush it in their business. So I'm looking forward to hearing your business journey. And so before we get into all of that, tell us a little bit about your business journey leading up to this point.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I was in high school, I guess I'll go back that far.
Let's go way back.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can't really talk about the journey without going back that far. So I didn't know what I wanted to do when I was 16, 17 years old, but my parents kind of sat me down and asked me, what are you going to do with the rest of your life? I didn't realize, like many people at the time, that you don't need to have all those answers figured out. So if anybody listening is young and lost, I think that's very normal. But we judge ourselves, and I certainly did judge myself for not knowing what to do. So I was always good with numbers in school, and it was actually my parents that pushed me into accounting. So they kind of they wanted me to go to Schulich. They wanted me to get my CPA. So it was all kind of them steering those decisions in the beginning. And I actually wasn't doing very well. I didn't really enjoy that entire process. I was kind of doing it for my parents. So I didn't try really hard. And I did graduate from university, but when I started writing the CPA exams, I wasn't doing well. And it was because I was always a quick learner in high school, and I was always able to get by doing very little work. And I didn't realize how much that was going to work against me later in life. So when I was in university, I was able to get through that as well. But once I started writing the CPA exams, that no longer worked. You needed to know what you were talking about. You needed to actually learn the material. You couldn't just get by doing the bare minimum. So that was an interesting lesson because I did fail the first couple of CPA exams. Then I went through an incredible mindset transformation. It started with the gym. I used to dance competitively when I was in high school and university. But then when I stopped, I got really out of shape and I didn't have any sort of exercise that I was doing. So I started going to the gym after getting out of shape, and it helped me, first of all, get into shape. But I think the bigger thing for me was the mindset transformation that it helped me go through. Because for anybody that has ever started going to the gym, I think they feel that not only do you feel more confident because you just start to look better in the mirror, but you also, there's some brain chemistry changes that happen that lead to more confidence. And I was fortunate with the people that I was following online because they weren't just talking about fitness, they were talking about mindset and personal development. And that led me down a path towards a man named Bob Proctor, who I believe passed away recently. So he was...
That's too bad.
Yeah, he was an older gentleman. I think must have been in his 90s by now, but he lived to the fullest for sure. He was still working, I think, until his very last day, and he loved what he did. And I think the world's a better place for it. So he taught the book Think and Grow Rich. which I'm sure many people have heard of. And so that kind of led me down a path of personal development. I got into Tim Ferriss, I got into Tom Bilyeu, and it really made me realize that I was in control of everything that goes on in my life. Actually, I have my favorite sweater. It says "Everything is my fault," and that was the biggest mindset shift that I had, because I no longer blame my parents for anything that I felt like I was forced to do, and now I took complete ownership over everything in my life and decided for myself that I can become a great accountant if I want to. And once that mindset shift happened, I went from the person that was trying to do the bare minimum to the person that was trying to do as much as possible to succeed. And whatever your definition of success is, I think that that's a good mindset to have. Like, don't look at what's the bare minimum that you should be doing, but look at how much can you handle. Like, what's the furthest you can push yourself. And that's kind of the way that I was able to overcome all of my challenges. So then I ended up passing all of my CPA exams. I was working for an accounting firm, smaller firm, and I didn't really like the way they were doing things. I never felt like they were educating their staff, and then they were upset when the staff didn't do things well. They also I didn't get the sense that they cared about their customers too much. So I spent 3 years there. At the beginning, I just did it. I was there because it was the only job that I could get. And then by the end of it, it was after I went through that whole mindset shift, I realized that there must be something better out there. So I quit my job there, started working at another firm. And I kind of saw a similar problem. They weren't really leveraging technology. Everything was done in the traditional accounting method, so that they weren't looking for things. They weren't looking for ways to make things more efficient. And I kept seeing that this process can be more efficient. Let's use apps here. Let's use apps there. But they didn't seem to want to actually make that change. So that's when I decided I'll start my firm with a focus on online fitness businesses, because fitness had changed my life so drastically. I guess from the story you could tell. So that's why I chose to work with specifically online fitness professionals, using my accounting skills to help them build businesses that could help as many people transform their lives as possible. So I quit the other accounting firm too, and then I started to build my business while also working as a finance manager for a skincare company. And that was one of the best experiences I think I've had in my career, because the company that I worked for, they didn't really have an accounting department. They had a couple of juniors and a CFO based out of the US that was supposed to oversee all of the North American subsidiaries of this company. So I kind of was able to work very autonomously and implement structure in their accounting department, implement efficiencies. I learned a tremendous amount because I had that autonomy, stuff that I was able to then implement in my own business and help other clients do the same thing. So that's been the journey up until now. Now I don't work for the skincare company anymore. I quit that in 2020 and took my business full time, and have since hired employees, have since signed up for Pure Bookkeeping. And we could talk about that a little bit too, because I think Pure Bookkeeping has really accelerated my business in a way that I couldn't have imagined if I hadn't signed up to become a Pure Bookkeeping licensee. So thank you for that, Michael.
Well, thank you. And it's a remarkable journey. So many nuggets in there. I mean, the mindset, the health, the shift in your brain. I mean, we're not talking about just going and doing something different. We're talking about altering the wiring in the brain, like all of this that led up to where you are today. And it's really refreshing. And I love the everything is my fault, 100% responsibility for your life. I mean, it's so refreshing to hear. I don't think many people in today's world would wear that sweater, and I think more should. So
I agree.
Good for you for being a leader in it and to bringing it to other people and their story. It's inspiring to me, in fact. But I'm curious as well, before we get into the transformation, like in your business, I like to talk about the starting of your business, the bumps and the bruises, and how that looked. But I'm really curious about what you decided to go niche into fitness professionals. Was that something that how did it go? Did you stick with it? Did it work out?
Yeah. So the beginning is always difficult when starting a business. I think getting your first clients, it can be really, really hard. I first signed up to a mastermind program. It was designed for new business owners or new startups, basically, that wanted to learn how to run their business in the early stages. And I had signed up more, like I did want to learn the skills, but it was more, my intention was to network with other business owners that probably didn't have another. Right. Yeah, they didn't have an accountant yet because they were brand new businesses. The plan didn't work very well because new businesses can't really afford accounting services. So
it's like ether. There's nothing there.
Yeah. So I did get one client out of that, but I decided to take the same approach one more time, but with a much higher level mastermind program. So I signed up to a program called the 7-Figure Mastermind, which is run by Vince Del Monte. And he teaches fitness business owners how to take their businesses online and how to grow from a 6-figure business to a 7-figure business. So these were already established businesses, and they were trying to hit the next level. So I thought these were the right clients for me. They were all businesses that wanted to go into the online space. So I signed up for that mastermind. It was very expensive at the time. I think I spent around $20,000 in 1 year for that mastermind, and at a time where I wasn't earning much in my business because I didn't have any clients yet, or I had very few clients. So it was a huge investment for me at the time. And I did have the skincare job, so that was kind of feeding the startup costs of my business. So it ended up working very well because I was exposed to a number of great business owners that wanted to work with, but also the founder of that program, Vince, he also was looking for a new accountant at the time. So the timing couldn't have been better. So he ended up becoming a client. And at the time, he was a huge client for me, and he was shouting me out, which led to obviously referrals. Beautiful. Yeah. He even allowed me to come and speak to his community, and that definitely gave me credibility as well. So yeah, it's something that I've certainly stuck with, and I've loved working with this industry. And it's really interesting how much more of an expert I've become in the industry as I've worked with these clients. I think niching down is very powerful because not only do you present yourself as an expert, but you really do become an expert. Like you start to see the issues that they have. For example, in the fitness space, because they're online, I guess this is an online business issue, not just related to fitness, but more any online businesses. We operate in multiple provinces, multiple jurisdictions. And the hard part can be tracking your sales by province or by country or by state and determining whether you have compliance obligations in certain states. And what I have found in the fitness industry is that most of the platforms that they're using, things like Trainerize, they don't do a very good job of helping you track your sales by location. So we've actually solved that problem on the back end. But that's just one example of how niching down has helped us become experts in the space. So I have no intention to change the industry that we serve. If anything, we want to expand to more health and wellness, not just fitness, but all aspects of health and wellness, because I think they're all important, and expand into other countries, hopefully. So
it's remarkable. It's a remarkable story, because the knowledge, it's being able to talk to people. Like if you spoke to a fitness owner, online fitness owner, your credibility it probably oozes out of you because you've been doing, like, just even what you just said. For someone to hear that it's just magical for creating authority, for creating trust, for creating confidence in the buyer. And so it really works. Now, your story here of going and joining this high-level mastermind, that's remarkable. And I mean, we think about networking, but that is a type of networking. I don't know that I mean, obviously it wouldn't take someone long to figure out, well, let's go figure out, to go hang out with like people that are doing the work that we want to serve. But you actually went and worked very closely in a high-end community. And now it's not going to work every time for every single person, because you have to be good. You're obviously really good at what you do. You built trust with the leader of it. Like, it worked out really, really well. But there's so many industries that have programs like this that are a huge opportunity to go and serve that community. I mean, what it costs that founder of the 7-figure for online coaches, I forget the name of it, but what it cost him to build that community, you had access to that for only $20,000. I bet you it cost him multiple millions to build that community of high-end people. And you bought in access to that. It's amazing.
Thank you. But yeah, it was definitely a risky move at the beginning, because there's no guarantees.
Definitely risky. Yes.
But, yeah, it did work out. I'm very fortunate that it worked out.
Yes. Well, you made it work out. And I think that comes back to the mindset, right? When you're willing to go all in, when you have the conviction to make it work, you probably had some failures even along that journey. It worked out great, but I bet you there were points of failure where you could, if you would have, zigged left or zigged right, you would have failed, but you kept at it. You figured it out.
Yeah. I mean, in the beginning, it wasn't like I signed up and the first month he became a client. It took months before I even got a chance to sit down with him directly. And I'm trying to remember how this even happened. I must have been talking to the community and he liked what I had to say, because he invited me over to his house one day and just said, I'd like to talk to you about my books. Yeah, the intention was never to try and get him as a client, but it did work out very, very well.
That's remarkable. Yeah. Remarkable. So now let's talk a little bit about the infrastructure and the systems. You talked about Pure Bookkeeping. How has that, why did you choose to do something like Pure Bookkeeping? And then how did it work out for you?
So I knew I needed systems. I do consider myself an early adopter, and I like to try new technologies out when they first come out, and they're not very good. So that's how I ended up at the QuickBooks conference. And that was the first time I actually heard about Pure Bookkeeping. You had the booth, and I'm surprised you remember that. That's where we met, actually. I'm impressed. But I certainly do remember that. I remember your booth. I remember your shirts. So I was attending these conferences, and I was attending the DEX seminars, and I even signed up to ProTax when it was in its infancy, and they were giving it out for free. ProTax is QuickBooks Online's tax software that they've built into QuickBooks Online directly. So they've always had Profile, but now they have ProTax as well. So from what I saw at the conference, I understood that Pure Bookkeeping was a system that was already kind of made for you. So I thought to myself, rather than spending the time trying to figure out these systems that other people can follow, somebody's already built it. Why don't I just go and check it out? And the thing that helped me the most in the Pure Bookkeeping system wasn't actually the systems that you guys had built, although the systems you guys are teaching very, very good bookkeeping practices. And I think accountants could certainly benefit. CPAs are not very good bookkeepers, and I think they could all benefit from going through the program to see what good bookkeeping practices look like. But what it taught me more was how to structure instructions, or how to create instructions that are easy to follow, how to design systems. So it really taught me more how to think and how to design systems myself. The vast majority of our bookkeeping systems do come from Pure Bookkeeping, but we've had to adapt them to serve our clients. And had I not gone through the training, I wouldn't have learned how to systematize so well. So that's really most benefit that I've gotten from Pure Bookkeeping. And so I'm very, very grateful. It's made training new staff super efficient, because now we can put them through the training program and they'll understand exactly why we do certain things. So yeah, lots of gratitude to you, Mike.
No, it's our pleasure, and it's actually, it was a conversation I had with our co-founder Debbie Roberts just actually yesterday around the fact that people like you, like there's so many we serve so many bookkeeping business owners that often people think they have to do it to the exact letter of the law, and it's like it's impossible to have only one way 100%. And so that's exactly what we want to inspire in the industry, is that everything should be solved with a system. And so you take a system that's 90% built out, and then you customize and build your own systems and processes for the uniqueness of your business. There's certain things that you learn or need, or you're specific to your niche or niche that you have to design. But it's like you have become a student of really the EMyth, which is what Michael Gerber wrote 40 odd years ago, that Debbie read and then built, detailed, documented systems for how to do everything possible inside your business. So what you've learned is the EMyth way, particularly, obviously tweaked and turned and all that good stuff. But it's so refreshing to hear. And, that's what's wonderful to hear, is that you're able to now scale. You're able to bring on staff. What was it like bringing on your first staff member?
So my first staff member, do you know Kelly Parks?
I do.
So Kelly Parks, I had met her at the QuickBooks Online conference as well. And she actually, I had some issues in my business, and I reached out to her for some help with some systems. And she told me about her daughter-in-law that was also looking for a job. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I'll interview her. And I actually wasn't looking yet to hire. I was I guess the first hire can be scary. You don't know, are you actually going to be able to afford them? Are they going to be doing things correctly? But I interviewed her, really liked her. And then I did hire her, and she ended up being amazing. There was one situation where I'm glad I didn't name her, because I don't know if she'd be okay with me sharing the story. But there was a situation where she needed to take some time off for personal reasons, which was fine. But I was stuck then I had one team member to having no team members then. And it was just me again. And that was a huge lesson, because after that, I have a different approach to hiring than I would say most people. So rather than trying to go through a bunch of resumes, I actually learned this from a guy named Evan Carmichael. He's a big person on YouTube in Toronto. And so what I've learned from him is, rather than posting a job description, going through a bunch of resumes, finding the perfect candidate, hiring them just to find out that they might not be great at what they're as great as you thought they were going to be. And we've all been there, where we want to try to get them to be great, right? So we hire them. We've gone through this process. It's such a big hassle that we don't really want to do it again. So we're going to try to stick with this person for as long as possible, so that we don't have to go through that process again. So what I learned from Evan is, rather than doing that, what I started to do is, when I post a job description, first of all, I bury in the details, must possess strong attention to detail. And then in brackets, I'll put, tell me how many Instagram followers Daniel Breez has in your cover letter. So if they miss that they're automatically not a candidate. So that filters out a lot of people who didn't actually read the job description. But then the other thing I do is I'll hire a couple of people for the same role part-time, and see which one is actually doing the job well. So I'm basically paying them to see if they can do the job, because that's what we really want to know. We want to know, can you do the job or not? I don't care what university you went to. I don't even care if you went to university. I don't care if you're designated. I don't care if you are certified. If you can do the job, you can do the job. Great, I'll hire you, but I need to see if you can do the job. So that's kind of been my approach. So the lesson that I learned was, rather than hiring one full-time person, I think it's better to hire a couple of part-time people. Number one of them might not be that great, and you'll find out right away, and you'll still have the great person, hopefully. And the other thing is, maybe they'll both be really good. And if you, for any reason, do end up losing somebody, you can move the work. Because the worst thing that happened when I had one employee and they were gone, I couldn't keep up with the workload by myself anymore. So that was a huge lesson. So I've had some bad hires. It sucks whenever you have to let somebody go, but it's part of business. Now we have an amazing team. My style is definitely more hands-off. I like to empower people to be autonomous. That's worked well for me so far. It's definitely helpful, or crucial, I should say, to have a system that they can follow. So yeah, I hope I answered the question. I don't.
You
remember
did.
what the question
I
was.
think it's great to hear. And I mean, the other thing that I would imagine has been helpful for you is, because you've systematized, your business and the processes are documented. You now have, even when you do lose staff or have to change staff or whatever happens, it's not like you're starting from scratch. There is a specific, determined process that people can come in and pick up where they left off. And that many people, and I hear people saying, "Oh, I'm hiring somebody and they have no systems." I've heard it so many times, the horrors of just not being able to make it work, because it's, again, and we go back to your sweatshirt. I'm 100% responsible, or everything's my fault. It's many people will look at a business. Now, you have systems and process, and you've hired people that some have worked out, some have not, but you're setting them up for success before they've even started. Whether they're good or bad, you're setting them up for success because you have documented processes and systems in your business. 90% of the businesses out there don't, and then they blame the people because the people weren't instructed, they weren't trained, they weren't told specifically how to do the job. And it's not just in this industry, it's in every single industry. It's why so many businesses out there struggle, is that they don't set their team, their staff up for success. They want to hire people to come and figure out their business. You're hiring people to come and work inside your machine. Many people they want to hire people that are going to go and help them, figure out their machine. There's a big difference.
Absolutely. And I think the best thing that you could see in an employee is somebody who actually does want to solve problems. But I don't expect that from my team. If they were interested in living a life where they had to figure everything out, they would probably start their own business too.
That's right. That's right. And it's not you definitely want those people. You definitely want those people, because it's not about, you haven't figured out everything. No business has. You want people but you don't want to also have people come in and then not know exactly because they're going to do it their way, right? And then you're going to hire another person, they're going to do it their way. And then you're going to have just a big jambalaya of chaos. What you want to be continuous improvement, building systems, and hire people that, they have lateral thinking. They look at something, they say, "Daniel, we should do it this way." It's like, yeah, it's a great idea, right? That's where you start to have the 1 + 1 = 3.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so good for you for doing it, and exciting. So let's talk a little bit about the future. Like, where are you going in your business?
Yeah, so through Pure Bookkeeping, we met Lisa Campbell, and Lisa Campbell, as you know, is running Profit First in Canada. So Profit First has been super transformational for my business, not just because we started offering it as a service to clients, but the way that it has transformed my business, my own financials has been amazing. As an accountant, I've even gotten more clarity over my own finances using Profit First than I've ever had before. And ever since implementing Profit First for my business, I felt unethical not telling my clients about it. Like, although we do offer it as a premium service in our business, every single one of our packages has some element of Profit First, just because I believe so much in the system that I don't feel right not offering it to clients, or not at least telling them about the benefits and how much it can transform their business. So we're definitely in the future very focused on Profit First and other things that we can offer to our clients to help them grow their business. Because I think before Profit First, we were mainly focused on compliance and very, very little advisory. I always felt that there was a piece missing when working with my clients, because yes, compliance is important and we need to make sure that we're in the green with the CRA or the IRS. But if your goal is to build a business that helps people and can support your dream lifestyle, getting compliance services is not going to help you. So I always wanted to figure out how I can actually help my clients grow, and Profit First solve that problem. So advisory and Profit First, these are things that we're very heavily focused on moving forward. We're also now working with some bigger clients where we offer sort of an accounting back office, where we actually, they have us as their outsourced accounting department. That's been very different than the traditional services that we've been offering, but it's been working very well. So we're thinking about offering more of that in the future. So rather than just dealing with compliance and teaching about Profit First, we also are going to offer things like bill payment, and other back end accounting department services. So yeah, that's what our future looks like. And I should say I want to expand into the US. So I am looking for other accountants or CPAs in the US that I can partner with that can handle the tax side of things, since I'm not a designated CPA in the US yet. Maybe I will be one day. So that's the other direction that we're going.
That's exciting. An amazing story. And I'm so excited to hear where the future takes you. I mean, an incredible endorsement of Profit First. I feel the same. We've talked about Profit First so many times on the show. It's a remarkable way to run your business. And I think what's interesting about the compliance is very important, always will be important. But what the Profit First does is it makes the compliance more valuable. That's you take the compliance and then you insert it into something that's actually going to expand on it and have it be so much more valuable to your clients. So if we think about any raw resource, right? The raw resource is worth so much, but then when you take that raw resource and you manipulate it or change it into something that is more refined, it becomes more valuable. I mean, that's the way it works. So, you've got this incredible raw resource that you do a fantastic job with. You do it great. Have great systems, great process of delivering on that. But then you take that great raw resource and then turn it into something extremely valuable to your clients that they're willing to pay more for, which then increases your profit margin, not only on those additional services, but as well on the compliance.
Absolutely.
Wonderful, Daniel. Well, Daniel, I can't wait to have you back to hear what you take on next and to hear how you've transformed something else in your business, because you really have done a lot of it over these last few years. And it's such a pleasure to have you on the podcast.
Yeah, pleasure to be here. Thank you again, Michael.
Yes. Now, before we let you go, let us know if there are any potential clients that are listening or potential people that just want to reach out and connect with you because of who you are. What would be the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, Instagram would probably be the best. So my handle on Instagram is Daniel Breez. Breez is spelled with no E at the end. And I'm pretty active there for any potential clients that might be listening. I do share a lot of tips for the fitness industry primarily on my Instagram. So definitely check that out if you're interested in some accounting tips.
Absolutely. And you know what? We have a lot of listeners in the United States, so they may be interested in partnering with you as well. So that's at Daniel, which is DanielBreez at Instagram. So wonderful. And we'll have that link in the show notes as well.
Thank you so much, Michael.
Thank you, Daniel. It is our pleasure. And thank you for sharing all of your wisdom with us today. And with that, we wrap another episode of the Successful Bookkeeper Podcast. Be sure to check out our new Thursday bonus podcast episodes that will happen from time to time. We call it our Spotlight Series, and you won't want to miss it. Remember, if you'd like to learn more about us, check out thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com. Until next time, goodbye.
You've been listening to The Successful Bookkeeper with Michael Palmer. For more information and to download the resources mentioned in this episode, please visit us at thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com. Thank you for listening.